Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I've been great, dude. Happy. This is going to be our end of year episode. So cheers to you. I actually brought a drink for like the first time in I think since San Francisco. So nice. I don't know if you have a drink in your hand.
Nah, I have coffee, but
that's fine, bro. It's a hottie toddy in my eyes. So cheers to you. Bro, life has been good, bro. Been just chilling, taking it easy. Enjoying the World Cup. I think it's officially, I don't know how it is for you at work. You can touch upon that in a second, but it's officially dude, show up to work, don't be a complete asshole, but if you don't work, it's fine. We're officially last week was actually a very hectic week for me work-wise, but this week has been very clear, bro, we're good, just show up, do what you can. If you want to go run errands, but we don't give a fuck kind of a thing. How have things been on your end?
Nice. Yeah, if anyone I work with happens to find this podcast, I have been working the full 9 hours every day.
I'm working 23 hours a day.
No, it's pretty much the same. I mean, everyone, I feel like across the board is kind of tapped out since it's mid-month of December. You know, people want to be with their kids or their family or whatever. And we're kind of just on call, I guess you could say. Today
right.
was super
if some shit
dead.
goes south, you need to be available, but it's fine.
Yeah. So I honestly today didn't do a whole lot. I've woken up at 10:30, 11 a.m. each day, past couple of days. So yeah, I've worked too hard earlier this year to be waking up too early and working too hard. So yeah.
That's how I'm treating it. I feel like I've busted my ass this year. I deserve a week or a month of dude, just take it easy kind of a thing.
Yeah. For sure.
Do you have any fun plans for the rest of the of 2022? As far as traveling or anything like that?
Yeah. So my wife and I we're going down to LA on either Thursday or Friday.
Nice.
So we'll be spending the last couple weeks of the month back home, and we're not going to really be traveling at all during that time frame, mostly just kicking back. We have a couple birthdays and stuff, including mine, that we'll celebrate here and there. But outside of that, we will be going back to Hawaii in February. Found a sweet deal a couple weeks ago. I think it was less than 200 or something stupid where we're we just have to go.
You have to go, bro. Yeah. That's ridiculous. $200 each?
Yeah.
And then I never been. It's the because obviously you're getting an Airbnb or a hotel. Is that also relatively cheap, or is that on the higher end?
I think it really depends. If you go prime time, we're not going prime time. I think prime time would probably be.
No, so I meant for you right now in February.
Oh, for right now. No, I think it was pretty cheap.
Nice.
I think anywhere from 150 to a couple hundred, which for Hawaii is pretty cheap. I think if you go at peak times, it could be 400. So yeah, during our time frame, it's cheap. I think they are getting, if I'm not misunderstanding this, I think they might be getting rid of Airbnbs in Hawaii or something.
Oh shit.
Eventually. I think it was because there's just way too many people buying up properties and then, having tourists, ruin the suburbs and shit. So I think that there are apartment buildings as well. So I think that's the rationale, but I'm not too sure if that's happening.
Dude, that movement's heavy, dude. Because even when I was in Florence for my engagement this summer, dude, there was literally graffiti on the walls saying "tourists go home."
Shit.
Yeah, dude. They really.
I don't blame them, I guess.
I get it, but also if tourists aren't coming to Italy, Italy's not a fucking country in 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
You depend on this fucking income. What are you talking about? Kind of a thing, right? But I get it though, bro. You have a nice suburban townhome, and then your neighbors are all fucking people from Arkansas, and you're how the fuck did this happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get it. But yeah, I feel I'm assuming I've never been, but I'm assuming Hawaii is also trying to be very traditional about how they go about shit. And it's bro, we're not really trying to have this energy around us. But again, Hawaii needs that tourism money. So it is what it is.
Yeah. But in any case, yeah, it'll be fun. It's kind of our, at this point, go-to spot. It's obviously a lot closer if you live in California. And then it's kind of getting away to an international country that has all of the American amenities, I guess you could say. So that's kind of how it became our go-to spot.
Fire. Yeah, I definitely, it's on my list. I don't know if it's a bucket list thing, but definitely I need to check out Hawaii. But you said, it's just from the East Coast, man, it's just
Yeah.
And if I'm gonna travel 14 hours, I might as well go to India or something.
Right. Like, yeah.
Like, it's just tough. But we'll definitely make that trip happen. Maybe like stop in San Fran for a couple days and also do that. Whereas it doesn't feel like complete like, fuck up. But
right.
But yeah, so this episode, we wanted to give everyone a bit of a recap of this year. A lot's happened in 2022. We were definitely off on some predictions, but I think you'll see throughout this episode, like I think most people would have been off as well. So we'll dive into that in a second. But I think it only makes sense. Spotify did their music recaps. Apple did their fucking welfare version of it as well. So I figured we should compare some stats and just see what we enjoyed as individuals, and we can just jump off from there. So for you, what were some of the things that stood out from your Spotify recap?
What stood out for me is the fact that I know it's obviously based on your actual data, but
we still don't believe it. We're like, there's no way.
No, I'm like, this shit is, for me, I think it's just because it's so generic of a list, and I'll tell you who that is in a moment. But I find myself like, at least, I don't know if this is just the psychology of me wanting to be like more edgy or some shit than I actually am, but I feel like I find myself listening to like lo-fi hip hop and random shit that wouldn't fall under this bucket of artists.
But do you do that on the spot? Because I have a similar take as well for myself. But are you doing that on the Spotify app itself?
So I am, but that's a good point because it's the local files that I have to import, and Spotify I don't think has any way of using that data to make this list if it's just naming a file. So that's probably why. Yeah.
I would lean towards that because I do the similar thing on SoundCloud. Like if I go through like what I actually listen to like on a daily basis, like I don't actually agree with what I have, but I'm like, but they don't know what I'm listening to on SoundCloud and YouTube and shit like that.
Yeah.
So let the people know like your list, like your top artists, like all that shit.
Yeah, so my top 5 artists apparently in order are Drake, Chris Brown, Jack Harlow, Ty Dolla $ign, and Wiz Khalifa. Literally the most generic. This might as well be a Rolling Loud 2023 lineup. And don't get me wrong, I love all these artists. I listen to them a lot.
But that's wild. If you would have told me that your top 5 would include Wiz Khalifa in 2022, I'm like, there's no fucking way.
That's what's crazy. So I had to go back and look. And I don't think, first of all, I don't think any of my most played songs even include Drake as a feature, which is insane to me. But I just went through my main playlist that I use quite often. Granted, it's randomized, so a lot of these streams I don't necessarily have quote unquote control over, but I did notice I added a lot of Wiz Khalifa's mixtapes, which I think only recently made it to Spotify this year. So I think
that's a good point though, bro, because I think you and I both had a moment like around like March, April-ish that we're like, bro, this is back on like playlists. Like, are you enjoying it? So like, that's a good point. Because I definitely played Marijuana like or Marry ×3 like a million times this year. So
yeah,
I feel that.
And then Drake, of course, released fucking 20 albums this year. So I had to listen to that. Obviously, there's a lot of replays from that. So I guess that makes sense. Chris Brown, similar instance. For him, it's more clear why he made this list because my most played song was apparently CAB with Fivio Foreign.
Really?
Yeah. I played that song that one weekend like 100 times. And it's even crazier because that song is long as fuck. It's like 5 minutes long.
And then, because that means you literally had to play it fully and then play it again.
I don't know if it fully counts. I wonder if it's 30 seconds or more.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Fair enough.
But either way, it's still pretty crazy. So
your top song is CAB, Chris Brown, and Fivio?
Yep. And I'm pretty sure the reason Jack Harlow made it on is because of Dua Lipa. But yeah, I think there's more, there needs to be more context with these lists because, for instance, if I'm having a get together with people, I'm going to play, certain artists versus others. And like I said, I listen to like lo-fi and other stuff mostly during the day. So I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, for me, if we want to go like song for songs, like so my top 5 songs, Heavy Drake, which is like nice because I was like, maybe I didn't play him enough, but I'm glad that I was still to my Drake stan roots. So number one song on Apple for me was Back Outside Boys, bro, and I support this 100%. But what's crazy, dude, it's only like 50 plays, so it's not some like obscene number, you know what I mean? So like I feel like there was a nice balance of shit because like Rich Flex was number 2 at 49, Aria ASAP Rocky was number 3 at 49, Circo Loco was 48 at 4. You know what I mean? So it's like there was never any one song that I was like, yo, this is the song that's like speaking to me. But I would say Back Outside Boys, I remember seeing myself at the gym repeating that before the song was over multiple times. So I stand by that. Like, I obviously know the data confirms that we don't give a fuck if you stand by it. But like, I do agree with this wholeheartedly. Like, yeah, that was really like, I felt that song more than anything else this year.
Nice. Yeah. For me, outside of the Chris Brown, Dua Lipa, which in order were the top 2. The third was actually a song, I think it was my heat of the week. I'm pretty sure at one point, Dave East and Kaylin For Real. The song is called No Cocaine, produced by Mike.
It was definitely one of your heat of the weeks.
I love that song. Speeding by Roy Woods, another heat of the week.
Oh, Roy Woods.
Then
Legend.
Ruckus, My Song, was number 5, which I was also surprised, but dope.
That's a good feeling, bro, that you actually like enjoyed something so much that's competing with like artists you fuck. That's nice, dude.
Yeah.
And did you already say who your top artists were?
Yep.
Okay,
Drake,
so my top 3 were Drake, and it's not even close, bro. 3,731 minutes. Number 2 is Bad Bunny at 2,021 minutes. And then number 3 is 21 Savage at 1,434 minutes. But a close 4th, could have been 3rd, Baby Keem, 1,427. I'm telling you, Baby Keem really is number 3 because I think they count 21 Savage twice.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So
it's
really,
a feature?
Baby Keem. Yeah, with a feature.
Okay.
With a feature. What's your top album of the year, according to the data?
I honestly don't think Spotify does that category in the wrap up.
Really?
Because I don't recall seeing it. I'm going through it right now. I don't see an album wrap up. Just the artist and the songs.
Got it. Okay. Well, again, the way that Spotify does it is better than Apple. But I will say Apple does get into pretty like minuscule details to give you a better perspective, like all the shit you heard. So I do have top albums. For me, the top 3, number 1, Her Loss, 435 full plays. Number 2 is Bad Bunny's album, Un Verano Sin Ti, 415 full plays. And then number 3 is Drake, Honestly Nevermind, 370 full plays.
Nice.
Yeah, and I stand by that, bro. Like, we'll get into the details later, but like, I feel like, again, dude, like, there's something about Her Loss that like just sat so well for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like I thoroughly enjoyed it, bro. Like, it was hard for me to even try to hear something else, but I'm like, bro, this is fun, catchy, funny, like everything I want from like a hip hop album, bro, or an album in general. Yeah,
and I would say if that album was released early in the year, it probably would have made one of those top song lists. But just looking at my top songs of 2022, I can see the album covers. So I can say right now, looking at it, what would have made the list if Spotify created one would have been The Weeknd's Dawn FM.
Dude, you really love that album though. But it was like so early in the year. I think that was like February-ish. Yeah.
But that's the only one. Dawn FM and probably followed by Kendrick's. I think those two, based on what I see, would have been my top most listened to albums.
Nice. Yeah, I love Kendrick's top 5 for me in my breakdown. Melodic Blue was number 4 by Baby Keem, and then 5 was Kendrick on my top 5 albums. Nice, dude. Nice. So again, that's our music. Let us know about yours, what stood out, if we're fucking crazy for playing these artists way too much. I'm actually surprised that you didn't have Tory Lanez in your top 5, because I feel like your numbers the last 2 years have swayed heavily towards Tory, and he did drop a pretty solid album this year.
Right. I think that, the misleading thing is like an artist will have a song I like. I'll listen to that song a billion times, and then Spotify thinks they're my favorite artist of all time, when it's just realistically not the case. Based on my top most listened to songs, like they're just all over the place.
Dude, imagine listening to Preem and Party Next Door on Spotify instead of YouTube. Like YouTube is like, this is your favorite song, motherfucker.
Yeah. That's what I was just thinking that too. Yeah, Preem should be my favorite artist next year based on us listening to that shit.
Based on the last like 2 months, like Preem is the greatest artist of all time. There's no doubts about that. All right, so that's the music we listened to. We also did some dope shit as far as interviews. So I want to pull up some of the interviews that we did this year, and you just kind of like touch base on like how you felt about it. So obviously the last one we did was Chris Kane. We did Jalian. We did another Johan Lennox interview. I think we also did, was Matt Yanji this year?
I believe it.
Yeah,
the beginning. Yeah,
Matt was this year, March. We also did Bars right after that. So we actually had, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interviews this year. So not bad, dude. Honestly, it's almost like every other month we're knocking out an interview. So your thoughts about the interviews and interviews we've done in general. Like how do you feel about how 2022 went on that front?
Yeah, I was impressed with all of them. I think obviously this being like this is the second year that we've been doing it, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Second year that we've been doing it. I think that we've like developed a confidence and like rhythm with doing it. I think all in all, I really appreciate that. It seems like towards the end of every interview, pretty much everyone we speak to, mentions that we asked really good questions, or like it was a great conversation. I like the fact that we have a balance between like what each of them do, because they're like all at different stages of their career. They've accomplished different things. They, some people make beats, some make a certain style of rap, and some are like, have crazy accolades, like a Jalian writing for Akon and stuff. So I think it's just dope that we've been able to speak to a wide variety of people, and they all seem super humble too, like regardless of how much they've accomplished.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I feel like all the interviews this year have like made me feel encouraged to keep doing this, that we're not crazy for wanting to do this, that like again, definitely a variety of like success, whatever that means per se, but it is nice when these guys are like willing and wanting to jump on the pod and like talk and chop it up with us. That's like a very nice feeling to have. And then what I would say, bro, it's also nice seeing these guys like do crazy epic things, right? Like our last interview, Chris Kane, bro, he's dropping a new project, and you see him on all these like different beats websites getting crazy accolades. Obviously we know Jalian has a great connection with Ye, and like he has so many respect on that in that scene. Johan Lennox is dropping shit all the time. And then, bro, honestly, like not for nothing, probably the most organic interview we've had, Wes, bro, like his numbers are insane this year. You know what I mean? Like that part is just like almost like, yo, you feel like you get nothing to do with us because this dude was destined for greatness. But like I was just talking to my girl earlier, I was like, bro, this dude has, in his last screenshot, he has 1 million listeners each month on Spotify. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Yeah, again, I know he dropped that song that's viral, but still, bro, like that's whatever the reason is, that is phenomenal. So to say that we found him, we spoke to him, he loved us, he posted our shit 1 million times, like I think that's like the reason we wanted to do interviews at first. Like they go get in early with artists we actually fuck with, and like just seeing an artist like that blow up so organically. Because again, like I talk to my friends, when we're at home, like I'll put his video on and no one knows who the fuck he is, but they know his songs. So I'm like, yo, dude, and we know him though. So like that's just like a nice feeling to have, especially as we get, we try to do more and more of them.
For sure, and it feels like there's a mutual benefit when we're interviewing a lot of these people, because we're not speaking to Kanye West or someone who clearly doesn't need us, but like we need them,
and is doing an interview every second.
Yeah, right. And we're pretty like selective, I'd say, with who we go after. We're not just, interviewing anybody, and we're taking our time with, the people that we want to reach out to and speak with. And I think we, do the due diligence and research to really understand who they are and stuff. So I think it's dope that for the most part,
again, I'm not saying it's going to be forever, but I think for the most part right now, it's also nice that I don't think we've interviewed anyone who we wouldn't actually listen to.
Right. That too. Yeah.
Like I think that's key. I feel like we're being authentic as fuck to our listeners and people who actually fuck with us to, watch our shit and listen to our shit. Like, yo, like this is people we fuck with. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like you would probably enjoy this as well.
Yeah. And then obviously throughout the year, I think this year in particular, for the first time we had like, individuals here and there DM us and say, hey, like, check this out, or I have this artist, which is dope because obviously they value our platform in some way and want to get their message out.
Yeah, facts. Again, that's cool. Like going back to Johan and like Jalium, these guys are doing shit with like major names and major labels. So like imagine like even the idea of saying it out loud is wild. Like Johan Lennox is legit like wrapping up some shit with Mike Dean and then recording the pod for us. And it's just like that's just like a normal sentence that came out of our mouths and it's not bullshit. Like that's dope. You know what I mean? So,
for sure.
Obviously grateful for those connects. And yeah, we'll just see where it evolves. I know we're already working on some episodes for 2023, but we'll keep doing more of that. And again, I think we're in a position enough where it's like, let's just do what we think feels right, as opposed to like we need to put an episode out because like we haven't done one in 2 months. It's like, nah, dude, like if it doesn't make sense, like we can just interview each other and like that's still fine.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Nice. So yeah, definitely grateful for the interviews in 2022, and we'll see what happens next year. But some of the top stories I wanted to jump into, which I don't think we would have thought going into 2022 we would have had. So the idea of Drake dropping 2 albums in 1 year, and if you really think about it, 3 albums in the space of like 14 months. Like, did you think that was possible? And in hindsight now, how do you think it all fared out for him?
So if you told me at the beginning of 2022 that Drake would be doing this, I don't think I would believe you at all. Mm-hmm. Or I would assume, a couple of them are like little EPs or something that...
Like 5 songs.
Yeah, like 5 songs max. Then I might believe you, but definitely didn't see this coming. I think as far as... sorry, what was the second question before, how I feel it?
Like, how do you think the results were of those 3 bodies of work in the last 14 months?
I think overall, Drake is someone who, generally speaking, is always going to find some sort of success with whatever he does. Mm-hmm. I think out of all of it, honestly, Nevermind album, I'd say that went viral, but I don't think musically it did necessarily what he was hoping to do from like a long-term standpoint. I don't think it'll necessarily have the cultural impact 5 years from now where people will be like, oh, he moved the needle in that direction. I think it was like a cool moment. People vibed out to it. People are going to continue to vibe out to it, but I think he's just kind of going to move past that. Maybe potentially come back to it, but I think that one of everything will be like the quote unquote forgettable.
In a sense, like you think it was like almost like a guy jumping out of a fucking plane. It's like, you do it once, say you did it, and then you like just move on with your life, kind of a thing. Like he did something super different. He shocked us, but like he's not really trying to do that forever.
Yeah, I think he's like, this is what I want to do. Here it is. A lot of people fucked with it, and I think like that's the extent of that particular moment. I don't think it'll be like, and I don't even know if he was necessarily trying to do this, but I don't think it'll be like an 808 Heartbreaks type thing where people are like, oh my God, why did he go
like
this
changes
route?
The sound of music kind of.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden 10 years from now, everyone's doing like quote unquote house.
Yeah.
But I think her loss, I think that was a great kind of wrap up to everything that he put out, just because it was there wasn't really much else going on at the time. Two, people are already receiving it much better than Honestly Nevermind, so that just kind of automatically makes it appear to be better. And giving people what they actually wanted. And then he and 21 Savage are just two guys that had a really good rapport, like in the studio and on the beat. So I think it made sense. Obviously, everyone seems to love it, and it went just as viral as Honestly Nevermind, but I guess it was kind of more traditional Drake rap. So people fucked with it a bit more. I myself, have listened to it a lot since then. So I think he finished off the year strong. If I had to kind of sum up the overall impact of it. And then what was it before Honestly Nevermind? I don't know why I'm blanking out on
Certified Lover Boy.
Damn, that was this year?
No, that was November, end of November. 2021.
Okay.
But
so you mean within the span of
these last 14 months.
Okay, right.
3 albums.
I was about to say, I was like, damn, was there something right after Certified Lover Boy? Certified Lover Boy, I mean, that one, I think that moment hurt him the most because he was kind of pitted against Kanye, and everyone's saying it was generic and he peaked and, you know, what the fuck is this? And I know that had to have done something to him, even though he's not like really public with the sentiment of, you know, what other people were saying about him. But you could tell it fucked with him, especially because when he was doing Honestly Nevermind, I think he told academics like not to do a live stream. Like, I think he just reached a point where he's like, all right, I'm just gonna do what I want, but like I'm not gonna push it too hard. And then he just came back and surprised people with Her Loss, and then people kind of forgot that he did those two things.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree. So we're going back to 2021 again, only like 2 months before the new year. Yeah, dude, like that album, it was like those albums, the Donda and CLB, was a moment in hip hop which we all enjoyed, right? We were comparing it, even though in hindsight, dude, we should never be comparing a normal hip hop album to fucking essentially a gospel album in all sense of the word. But we did, because just again, they were going, they knew what the fuck they were doing, bro. They were fucking selling millions of records, and we were just playing, into it, which is fine. But dude, album. Dude, too many tracks, super forgettable. Dude, I can name you maybe 3 songs that I still fuck with today, but bro, never in rotation though. Like that's crazy. Cause I still listen to Dark Lane demo tapes, wherever the fuck that was. I listen to that more times than I ever even think about listening to CLB. It's just, I don't know. CLB to me is what, dude, when Jay-Z dropped the Blueprint 2, this might be showing my age, but bro, that was a double CD, like 26 tracks. And we're like, bro, we don't need this. And that's how I feel about CLB. I get like the pressure of like, bro, like you gotta go against Kanye and you haven't dropped a real album, you've been pushing this back, blah, blah, blah. But like CLB in hindsight, it's like, bro, we don't need this. Honestly, Nevermind, for me personally, like I love that shit, man. Like it was top 3 in albums listened to me for the year. I've been on my house shit for the past like 2 years. And then especially in a year where we're trying to be outside more, on a boat more, just enjoying life. Like I feel like that album sang to everything I was really trying to do this year. So it was a perfect moment for me. But as far as just getting down to the music of it, like dude, Her Loss was crazy, bro. Like that album is going to be timeless. Like I know the album has certain references to modern day like pop culture with this, Megan Thee Stallion shit and the him going at Dram and whatever. But like the album itself is fucking flawless to a certain extent. So like I'm just glad for his Mount Rushmore, where Drake lands in the form of like goats. Like bro, like that helped him just like, bro, there's no debate here. Because I'm telling you, people were debating it, bro. Like, I don't think we were, but like on the world of like vlogging and talking about this shit, people were like, man, CLB was kind of trash, and honestly, Nevermind wasn't hip hop. And if you really think about it, did we really enjoy Scorpion? And they're like, bro, whoa, like, chill. You know what I mean? Like, you're reaching here. So I think he needed her loss. Again, he doesn't need anything. This guy's fucking, from what people are saying, already a billionaire. But besides the fact, like, he didn't need a hit album. But as far as like the accolades, I think he did need it. And it was impressive to see someone deliver, and to have 21 Savage on it as like almost like a sidekick and like accepting that role was also cool to see, because at the end of the day, bro, like, yeah, you're a sidekick, but fam, do you know how much clout you're getting by doing this with me? And it was like almost like a perfect marriage per se. And it was just, I don't know, it was just cool to see, bro. Because like I know people were talking shit like, oh, dude, but he wasn't every song. It's like, bro, because it's not his album. You know what I mean? This is Drake. Like, bro, this is Drake's album. Right. And like, be grateful for the fucking invite is how I felt. So it was just cool to see for me.
Yeah, no, I think it was dope. I think the biggest criticism I heard from that, and even from CLB, was that Drake is like this bachelor who's approaching 40 and like hasn't grown up yet.
Oh, bro, let's talk about that, because I feel like you and I have talking about that offline, but never on the pod. So yeah, like, what are your thoughts on that feedback? Like, why is Drake 36 acting like a 20-year-old?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, it's pretty simple. Like, everyone can live their life differently. Not everyone needs to settle down at 30 and have 20 kids and you know, avoid bars and clubs. Like, everybody's destiny and plan in life is different. The timing's different. So I personally don't see an issue with it, especially because, I mean, he already has a kid, which I believe was accidental, but it sounds like that kind of maybe delayed his need to find, you know, something, you know, family wise that music can't get him. So I feel like he's just at a point where he's like, all right, I had this kid, and I still haven't necessarily reached all the musical milestones I want, and I'm not ready to settle down. So why should I? And I don't see an issue with that if that's how he feels.
Yeah, my thing is like, why should he? Is my point. Because dude, think about it. Dude, we idolize, we being men, for the last 30 years, as I can remember being alive, the last 30 years, Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner was a 74-year-old playboy till his last day on this earth. And dude, this guy was idolized by men. That even like the joke was all the memes when he died, and people were like, oh, he's in a better place. You're like, is he though? Because his life was pretty good here. And like, bro, like, so why shouldn't Drake live his best life? Like, who the fuck are we? Like, dude, like the Rolling Stone, in the Rolling Stone article review of her loss, they said in a paragraph that Drake is gonna live to regret this album because he's too childish on it. And it's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, dude, my man's 36. He's not 75. You know what I mean? Like, let him be 36. Dude, in modern day culture, a single 36-year-old with $1 billion should be able to do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, I don't know, like we don't need, again, we got Kendrick. Like, we don't need everyone talking about political events, right? We can have the guy doing that, and the guy making music for us to enjoy our life to. And then he's still talking about like relationships in a way that we can all relate to. Like, even if it's a current relationship or a past one or a few, like, dude, like, I still fuck with it. So I'm like, dude, like, I don't get, like, it's almost like he's too perfect at times. And like the media wants to nitpick, like, well, this is not what you should be doing at this age. It's like, bro, fuck you. Like, I'm the best that ever happened to music. Like, that's okay. Like, we can say that, bro. I feel like we feel guilty sometimes. Like, dude, like, think about where music would be without Drake these last 12 years. Like, the amounts of hits and moments this man has given us, and we're just like, well, you're old now, so stop making songs like that. It's like, bro, what? Like,
I think deep down, a lot of these people are just, they maybe find the music to be relatively predictable for him at this point, and their only excuse is that, you know, he hasn't found a wife and he hasn't done the Jay-Z route of, you know, talking about what business he opened up or how money phones are stupid and stuff like that. But the funny thing is, like, people love to scold these celebrities for, you know, getting into relationships or marriages, and then they end up leaving them for another chick or whatever. And they're like, why don't these guys just why don't these guys just be single if they can't settle down?
Right.
Like, why are they going to drag this girl and that girl through it? And maybe Drake is in that position. He's self-aware to realize, you know what, I'm rich, young, like a lot of girls are in my DMs. I'm not going to get married because there's going to be no point for me right now.
Right.
And I don't see anything wrong with, like, he could easily get married at 45, 50. He already has a kid, maybe he doesn't even want anymore. And he could just find a lifelong partner at that point.
Dude, but my thing is, like, I'm not even sure there's like a race tone to it. But when George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and DiCaprio doing this shit, they're like, you know, the shit. And because Drake does it, it's like, oh, what's wrong with it? It's like, bro, like, how does that make sense? Like, how come it's okay if George Clooney finds the woman of his dreams at 47, but because Drake is rapping at 35 about traveling the world and finding random girls in different cities, like, that's an issue. Like,
yeah, I think it's because since he's vocalizing it, it's almost like he's bragging about the lifestyle. Whereas I think people would only give that same energy to Clooney or like Leonardo DiCaprio if they were tweeting like, yeah, this young pussy hits different or something crazy like that.
Oh man, that's a good point. That's a good point. But again, I think if you would have told me, back to my original, if you would have told me that Drake's gonna drop 3 albums in the span of 15 months, I would have said, wow, he's had a bunch of flops and he's reaching. And the fact that I'm sitting here after the 3rd album and saying, man, that last album may be one of his best, is pretty impressive. Like, that's like the impressive part to me. Because again, I thought like, damn, bro, 3 albums in 14 months, my nigga, like, yo, chill. You know what I mean? Like, like, what are you trying to prove? You know? And it's like the opposite. I'm like, bro, like, it honestly just, yes, we Certified Lover Boy was, I think, like a whatever album, to be perfectly honest, but honestly, Nevermind showed risk, and Her Loss proved that no one really does this hip hop shit like you. And it's like, all right, man, like, going into next year, your mantle, you're set. And it's like, really whatever you want to do now.
Yeah. And after all this time, I feel like ultimately people just want that from Drake, like the standard. I won't say he's pushing the envelope, but he always comes with like new quotables and flows and people that he aligns with, and maybe elevates them and just brings that fun.
Oh, I think he definitely elevated 21 Savage like that.
Yeah, you can tell from his lyrics.
Yeah.
Whereas with Kanye, I think people expect Kanye to do something different, have a message, say something wild. They don't really want a club banger from Kanye or anything like that.
Yes, I agree. So great segue. So your thoughts on Kanye dropping Donda right before 2021, then dropping Donda 2 where no one listened to it because it came through the different platform. And really his year not being about the music but everything else. So if you had to like grade Kanye's year on a scale of like A to F, like what would you give it?
I mean, at this point in time, I think this year, he was at like a solid, I don't know, B+ up until recently, and then he just didn't study for the final exam, and now this motherfucker is at like a D, like just barely skirting by, and it's because the teacher just knows he has a troubled life at home and like doesn't want to flunk his ass, basically. So we'll see where he goes. He's obviously so influential. It's not like he's gonna be broke or gone, completely canceled from the planet or anything. I just think it's gonna be harder to publicly align with him unless you want to be accused of being like a Nazi or some shit.
That's the only thing, bro. Again, I haven't heard his most recent song, but I keep hearing this sample like on TikTok, and I'm like, damn, that shit sounds fire. But man, this one's tough, bro, because like I don't see the road to redemption for him. because like the stance he's taking is just so aggressive. You know what I mean? Like it's not like the shit before where it was like vague. You know what I mean? Like, I'm also Jewish. It's like, well, no, you're not, but I get what you're saying. But like the stance he's taking the last like 3 weeks is like, bro, like, fuck what you're saying. Like, I'm trying to think like future Kanye. Like, how do you come back from this? Besides, like, obviously just like apologizing like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, again, I know the Jewish community is like a small minority of America, but dude, that's still like it's just the fact that you went that hard against a community. And I just like, bro, like, how do you come back from this, bro? Like, that's like, I'm honestly very intrigued to see. Cause I think it's gonna happen, but I just don't see the blueprint. Like how, you know what I mean? Like, how does it happen?
Yeah, that's a big question for me as well. I don't really know how, unless he literally, you know, whether on or off the record, says he said XYZ for this reason, and he just completely clarifies from start to finish that, you know, he didn't really mean what he said, but he had to say because X or something, some weird like artistic misconstrued way of explaining things. And I think he's influential enough to people where people kind of defend him in that regard. But yeah, this one's a tough one because I think this is the most I've seen him piss off people. Everything else was like trivial compared to this, like stealing the moment from Taylor Swift or the slavery thing. Like all that shit, I feel like blew over within a couple of weeks. And at the grand scheme of things,
the slavery was a choice thing. It was like, bro, that was easy. You know what I mean? Like that was easy.
Yeah,
which is crazy because that was wild when it happened.
But I think now, since it's so political, like everybody's fully aware of it, and now it's to the point where I'm kind of like, I would be nervous about reposting a song of his or something on my
I told you last week, I'm terrified to like a post of his because I'm like, what if someone sees this? Like, but like seriously though, you know what I mean? Like I got Jewish friends. I'm not trying to make them think that I don't fucking like align with them in any way. Like like these are actual thoughts that I think are running through a lot of people's mind.
Right. And it's not even necessarily like I'm afraid, you know, I'm going to lose friends or anything. It's more so I don't want to have to explain to anyone like, oh, why are you listening to fucking Graduation right now? Like, are you at a Nazi party in San Francisco or some shit?
Dude, but that's so funny because like, so Soulection, dude, some of their songs that I saw in Miami, they were playing a lot of the samples that Kanye used, right? Oh, wow. But to the average listener, it's like, oh, that's a Kanye song. So it's just interesting how like that plays in. They're like, yo, I'm vibing, but I'm vibing to the original, not the Kanye version. Yeah. So yeah, bro, that's probably the most intriguing question going into next year. Like, how does he redeem himself? Because that's all we know. Like he says some wild shit and then he does something and we're like, yo, fuck you, man, it's just Kanye. Says some wild shit, does some wild shit, fuck it, bro. But like, this one is tough, bro. Because, dude, I could even go back to 2019 when we went to Coachella. Bro, my man is losing his mind. And then he goes full gospel. And we're like, bro, we're going to be there at 6:15 in the morning. No questions. We're like, bro, you know what I mean? But like, that's just crazy because up until that point, like, yo, this guy's fucking losing his mind. That was almost 4 years ago. So it's just like, I feel like that's probably the biggest question for him. He had obviously a very impactful year in so many ways, but probably the one artist who I'm like, dude, I don't even know how we like get to a point where I feel even comfortable bumping his shit in my headphones, let alone in public.
Right. And yeah, I just really want him to kind of clarify what exactly he wants. I think he said he has a lot of like interesting sound bites that sound super, you know, smart and creative, but at the end of the day are still super vague, not too sure what he plans to do to fix all the shit he claims is wrong with
and still offensive.
The industry. Yeah, it's offensive. But he likes to use a lot of like metaphors and things like that sound clever but don't really mean anything necessarily. And yeah, I think for me too, like we only have so many influential, powerful Black celebrities in the world. And I just hope that he does kind of correct his path and redeem himself, because it'd be a shame to lose him to some, stupid shit that happened in his contracts or whatever.
100%. It'd be a fucking shame, bro. It'd be a shame. And it's wild because the year started off, really, we think about it, with him shitting on Big Sean in that Drink Champs interview.
Yeah.
Like, that's how the year started. And we're like, oh, this is funny. Crazy ass Kanye, but it's whatever. And then the fact that we're here now, it's like, you can't just give him that crazy ass Kanye pass anymore. It's like, bro, you may need to just go chill. But again, what the wild part also for me, man, not to like drag this out, but it's like, it's not even the redemption. It's like, bro, like, you're not even trying to slow down with the crazy shit that you're saying now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the wild part to me. It's not even like you're like, you said some shit and you disappeared, but you don't know how your comeback's gonna be. It's like, bro, you won't shut the fuck up about everything. And it's like, bro, like the hole is just getting deeper. And it just seems that he's like, that's fine. Like, I don't want this anymore. And it's like, dude, if that's the case, fine. But I feel like you love being an artist. And I feel like this is jeopardizing ever a future of you being able just to put music out, because you're going to make this too toxic for anyone to even feel comfortable to even utter a word like Kanye song slaps. You know what I mean? Like, It's uncomfortable to even say that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I just hope, or I'm excited to see how things pan out for 2024. I mean, it is a very entertaining situation just because he's just done so much over the years and said so much shit over the years, and now it feels like it's finally reached a point where he does not give a single fuck. So I'm curious where it takes him, because if he's this confident in everything he's saying, I would think he has some sort of plan or reasoning for all this, but I could be completely wrong. Maybe he's so arrogant that he just doesn't care and it's not gonna help him one bit.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he has a plan, but no one's like, there's no one in his circle willing to tell him, hey, this plan is not working. It just seems like they're just going full steam ahead, but it is what it is. So real quick, before we get into like milestones of the year, again, unfortunately, this is Blair and I's third year doing the pod, and it's going to be another year with too many people were lost. So rest in peace to Takeoff, rest in peace to PNB Rock. Bro, there's honestly 4 or 5 names that we can like name off that unfortunately, like, obviously don't have the headline capacity of those artists, but rest in peace to anyone who lost anyone this year. And then even Lil TJ, almost lost his life over a fucking Instagram post. So hopefully in 2023, fewer or none of those comments by us, because this shit's getting super tragic and also terrifying. But for you, man, if you had to say your MVP of 2022, who would that be?
MVP of 2022? It's a tough one, but we're just thinking overall musically or
impact. I got Blair stumped.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. I know I've definitely seen a lot of the same 4 or 5 people making headlines, but unfortunately the ones that come to mind are all in the headlines for the wrong reasons. So if we're thinking of like Gunna, Young Thug, Kanye, those guys, like, they've just been dominating the headlines. But in terms of like positive impact and progress and all of those things combined, I'd probably say I'd have to go with I don't know. I'm gonna go with Hit Boy.
Oh, that's a great one, bro. That's a great one. You shouldn't be hesitating about that one. That's a great one.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like for him, he's just elevated so much as a producer and artist himself.
And as people, not to cut you off, but as people get to learn more about his story, it's also kind of inspirational.
Yeah, no, super inspirational. I had no idea about any of that stuff, even though I've known of him since basically Watch the Throne.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he's, worked this closely with Nas for the third time and
it was another flawless body of work that universally critically acclaimed, everyone just fucks with it,
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a ton of other stuff he's done this year and people he's produced for, but I think for the first time he's kind of getting the public accolades he deserves for all his work, without having to do any crazy shock value viral stuff to get his work.
Do you think only because we're in the literally a week removed from Metro Boomin dropping a great body of work that's doing very well in the charts, do you think that's the next step for Hit Boy? An album of just 14 produced Hit Boy tracks that sound sonically in tune, but with a variety of artists on it? Or do you think that's
I'm leaning towards no. I feel like he seems like the type of person to perfect the sound of one person at a time if he's gonna do a body of work. Based on his relationship with Nas, I know he wants to do more work with Roddy and Kendrick, for instance, and Big Sean. And I feel like that's where he excels the most, when he's just in the zone with one person, and that's how it is. I feel like Metro Boomin kind of likes the limelight and just working with a broader spectrum of people on one project based on what they've done in the past.
Yeah, for sure. No, I totally agree with that, dude. But yeah, shout out to Metro Boomin having a great end to the year. Dude, for me though, 21 Savage, bro, MVP. It's not even a doubt for me, man.
That's actually a good one too.
Yeah, dude. 21 Savage has stayed in the conversation throughout the year, for good or bad. But dude, my thing with an artist is bro, if you're gonna be in the limelight, also have substance. And bro, his verses on Her Loss and the song he did with Nas, and then dude, honestly, dude, he was the standout rapper on Metro Boomin's album. You know what I mean? So to have I know it's they say that what do they say? Fucking that phrase is recency bias. I get that, it's the last 3 months, but bro, fuck, man, those are some pretty crazy 3 months to have. You know what I mean? I look at everyone else we've spoken about throughout the year. I don't think 21 has been such who else has done what he's done, right? We can say Drake, but it's bro, it's almost like Jordan. You can give Drake the MVP every year. You know what I mean? If we're gonna give it to someone out of the GOATs, I think 21 Savage had the most impact, and really just a lot of people outside of us who've been hip hop heads from day one, the average listener of music is fully aware of 21 Savage now, and they're oh wow, this guy is different. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not just some weird dude with face tattoos and a cross on his forehead and blah, blah, blah. So I think for me, 21 Savage takes the cake for MVP of 2022.
Yeah, it's a really good one. And now that I think about it, I feel like a lot of our mini clips in the past in this year have involved him in some way.
In some way.
Yeah, whether it's tweets about, putting the guns down or...
Yeah, exactly. It's something.
Right. And yeah, he definitely has elevated his sound. I could tell from the song with Nas and the album with Drake that while he is not a top tier lyricist like a Nas or anybody like that, obviously he's still able to reach his full potential in his pocket.
Correct.
Which is still very difficult to do, even if the lyrics aren't about politics or starting a business or anything like that.
Correct. Dude, so you're real quick, because I know this is the end of year wrap up, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. I know we're going to get out of here soon. But this was going, I don't want to say viral, because unfortunately, I don't think Matt Hoffa is there. But again, shout out to the Matt Hoffa podcast. So Styles P was on that podcast last week, and he had a viral moment where he was 21 Savage should never bring up Nas, and Drake should have been bro, don't say anything about those kind of artists. And in my mind, I'm bro, first of all, I understand that Drake is Batman to 21 Savage is Robin. Mm-hmm. But also who the fuck is Drake to tell 21 Savage anything?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, my point is like, bro, if 21 Savage has an opinion, dude, let my man have an opinion. You know what I mean? And then clearly it didn't offend Nas enough. But like your thoughts on like on Styles P getting so emotional, and even the idea of him saying that Drake should have like sunned 21 and be like, yo, don't say anything. It's like, that was my thought. I wanted to hear what you better say.
No, I agree with you, because it wasn't, he didn't say anything so offensive to where it would make sense for Drake to like text him and be like, man, like you crossed the line, blah, blah. It was a simple opinion that anyone like you and I could have. You can disagree with it, but it doesn't warrant, if I said this on Instagram, it doesn't warrant my friend being like, hey, this is a wild take. Like, you know, you were racist or whatever. So I think, like you said, 21 Savage is his own man. He can have an opinion. He did not say anything that was warranted another man being like, shut up. Like, your opinion is shouldn't be valid. But as far as Styles P getting upset, I get it. Like, he's a rapper's rapper. Probably doesn't get the credit he deserves within the industry by like the average fan. But at the same time, like you said, Nas, if anyone's supposed to get offended, it was Nas. He didn't. He ended up doing a song with him. And I think people keep once again forgetting that the argument that I think 21 was trying to make, or should have clarified, is that he's more relevant right now, and being relevant doesn't mean your catalog is better, or that you're more legendary, or that people are going to remember you more than the other person. It's just simply like what the numbers are saying right now, essentially. And take it or leave it. Like, it's like, that's it.
And then again, unfortunately, the numbers prove that, dude, like, Nas isn't. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just the facts, bro. Like, and it's okay. Like, we can still love Nas's body of work. But yeah, it was just funny to me that like it was like the traditional stereotype of the old head rapper being so offended. It's like, bro, like, are you crazy, bro? Like, imagine if like you and I had a wild take, and you're like, yo, bro, don't say anything. Yeah. I'm like, bro, who the fuck you like? If I was 21 Savage, like Drake like called me, I'm like, bro, who the fuck are you talking to right now, bro? Like I have an opinion. Like that's all it was. So like that was just funny to me, like how he was like so shocked that Drake would even let him like utter these words. It's like, what?
Yeah, and it's not like 21 Savage said this on the album, or like in the studio while he was with Drake, to where Drake could be like, yo, like chill or something. Even
bro, was it a fucking like a clubhouse conversation stuff? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we even talking about? So like, yeah, I just want to bring that up just like not to drag it out, but like that was funny to me that like this guy's like literally losing his mind. It's like, bro, like calm down. Like, what do you mean? Like, have another man tell me what I can or cannot say? Like,
yeah, I think it's very simple, the conversation. But I get it. I guess artists in general are going to be sensitive about their craft, regardless of how like logical you try to make the argument. If you say someone's album wasn't as good, or they're not, you know, as popular as this person, like they're just going to get sensitive about it, because
especially those kind of artists who are like artists, and like they almost feel like insecure that like I think he agrees with 21 Savage, but like doesn't like the idea that a young rapper like that is on top. Yeah. Like, again, I don't want to say like again, I love Styles P, bro. Like I love Styles P, but like it almost feels like haterish. It's like I don't want to see you be right, kind of a thing. Like so let me just say some crazy shit as well. Yeah. But it is what it is, bro. But all that being said, wrapping up 2022 before we look forward to 2023, what would you say was album of the year? I won't even put the hip hop label on it, but we probably will leave that way anyway. But what would you say was your album of the year for 2022?
Album of the year. I mean, if we're gonna go from like just raw like impact and quality and being cohesive, I still feel like Kendrick's Mr. Morale comes to mind. Again, I know we kind of already mentioned this, but
Complex I think here's agrees with you, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, they do. Nice. Yeah. And I'm right. Done.
Done. I have nothing less to say.
But I think, just from like what I envisioned to be a good album and the criteria for it, or like one of the best albums, is it has to be cohesive and kind of just tell a story and a concept in a way that's digestible. For me, it doesn't necessarily have to be something I want to replay all day either. Like I probably listen to Jack Harlow songs more than most of the album, but just because of the context. And I think, I don't know, it's just a great body of work. Obviously, haven't heard from Kendrick in quite some time, but to me, it's just like a beautiful piece of art that I think deserves recognition. He was able to be vulnerable and talk about a lot of stuff that most rappers don't or refuse to, just because they probably can't even do it in a way that Kendrick can. So
they can't. That's a simple fact.
Yeah, they can't. So yeah, I think that album was awesome, and Kendrick probably would agree, and I think he deserves a Grammy or multiple Grammys if it were up to me.
Yeah, no, dude, it's hard to disagree with you. I'm not going to disagree with you. It's a great album, bro. Like, for me, just personally, when I like think of like my favorite album of the year, for me personally, my criteria, like, it is the replayable of it, right? Like, it's just, that album was hard for me to replay, just because I know he was like, just like, dude, it was like intense, bro. Like, even that song which we love, the one like him and his girl going back and forth, like that I can see in a movie, but to have to listen to that over and over and over again is like, bro, like this is fucking making me like want to fight someone or something, you know what I mean? So, but definitely my top 5. I will do a couple honorable mentions before I drop mine. I mean, I enjoyed the Vince Staples album. I enjoyed the Denzel Curry album, and I enjoyed the Pusha T album, and I love the Kendrick Lamar album. So those 4. But honestly, bro, this might be more recency bias, but I'm gonna go with dude, Drake, man. Again, like Her Loss, bro. Like that to me is everything I need from a hip hop album, bro. It hits on like just like enjoying life, stunting on people who fucking talk shit about you, and like being able to just talk about relationships in a way that's not overwhelmingly depressing. And like that's what I think like the human experience is. And I know as we get older, like that's gonna change. But as 2 33, 34-year-old men, like that's what I'm looking for, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I want to enjoy life. If you don't like me, go fuck yourself. And I'm gonna have days where like I don't get along with everyone. Like, how should I work through those relationships? And like that's what Her Loss has, right? Like, I don't think people like get that on the surface. Like they hear a Circo Loco or Rich Flex and like 21, and they're like, oh, it's just like another corny ass like typical album. But like if you actually listen to the album, like it's not. Like it has depth, which I appreciate, right? Like, if it didn't have depth, then I'd be like, oh, it's a fun album. I heard it once and I kept it moving. But I feel like there actually is like a lot of depth in the album. So that's why, for me personally, I would say Her Loss was like my favorite album of the year across any genre.
I have to say I'm shocked with your pick. I don't believe you one bit.
There's no way. What's the data show? I think we already predicted 2023, but in case anyone didn't listen to that episode, so who do you think will be the MVP of next year?
The MVP of next year? That's a good question. Shit. Might want to ask.
I'm going to be repetitive with my answer from last year for a couple reasons.
If Tory wins his case, I'll probably say Tory. That'll be the epitome of MVP if he wins the case. But
MVP, Hall of Fame in the same week. For me, MVP of next year, as you like think about it, MVP of next year, dude, I'm gonna go back to A$AP Rocky. Only because there's been a lot of stuff in the news about him like seemingly wanting to really make music like of importance to him. So I think the rumor is we're gonna get an album before the year ends or right at the beginning of the year. So like, I don't know. I'm gonna go with A$AP Rocky. He's married to a billionaire wife. There's just like a lot of things right now that's like almost like making him come to the forefront. And if the album hits, I think it's gonna be hard to take him down. So I'm gonna go with A$AP Rocky. I was wrong last year. We'll try again this year.
It's a smart choice. I would say if I had to pick, probably his arch nemesis, Travis Scott.
That's a reach, but we think it's a reach, but I would say, it's also a great choice, bro, because I think people are wanting to want him back. You know what I mean? Like, they want to have a reason to make this guy the guy again. That's a great choice.
If he drops Utopia, if it's just like a couple singles here and there, I don't think it's going to do anything. But if he drops a classic album, similar level to Astroworld, that's when I can see it happening.
That Astroworld's almost 4-5 years ago?
Yeah, that's insane to me. It feels
that's insane, bro. Like, that is crazy.
Like, Sicko Mode's an old song. That shit doesn't feel that old to me.
No. And dude, Stargazing, bro. But again, that's like, dude, guys who drop classic albums really, like, they separate themselves, bro, because you can listen to that entire album now and have no idea what year it came out. And that's like, I think the testament to like quality music, you know what I mean? But like, the fact that that's 4 or 5 years ago, bro, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you would think he'd need a fucking album, but it's almost like, who gives a fuck, you know what I mean? But I think that's a great choice, though, for MVP of next year. Because honestly, for his career, you may think he may need it. Because at some point, I'm not gonna say we're gonna forget about him, but it's almost like he's always just gonna be around, but we're not expecting anything. You know what I mean? Like, you peaked. We're not mad at it, but it's also a fact.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that'll be interesting. But great choice, man. But man, that's the Audio Theories wrap for 2022. Big things next year: interviews, merch, TikTok gonna go viral. Bro, I'm nervous though, because apparently Congress passed something today banning TikTok in America.
What the fuck?
Yeah, dude, like, it's gonna take it's not gonna like turn off tomorrow. And obviously, like, there's gonna be like free market rules that go against this, but dude, apparently, like, unanimously, all of Congress agreed to ban TikTok because they think that China's using
threat?
it to, like,
Yeah, I've seen so many videos about the dangers of TikTok on YouTube. Pretty much one comes out every week saying that in the US, they're just spoon feeding us just raunchy, violent, stupid content that's making kids like retarded, essentially. And
especially when you hear like what TikTok they allow in China.
It's like science fairs.
We don't know anything, bro. We're being told this. We don't know that's actually the case. But like, they make it sound like TikTok in China is like for like baby scientists to like learn how to like be. Yeah, so like, if that's accurate, then I get why they think it's a threat. But bro, who even knows, man? But any last words for the year, man? Anything you want to talk about for speaking to the universe for next year?
No, I think we found some good momentum these past couple of months with the new content we've been putting out, new ideas, new short form content, especially for TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So feeling optimistic with this new approach. Next year, obviously, we'll have some interviews coupled with that, which I think would be interesting as well from like a short form perspective, since we haven't really tested that out now that I think about it. So I think we have a lot of good things coming our way. I'm also personally going to try to do more music wise. So looking forward to that as well. And I think everything has been on a good path so far.
For sure. And we'll definitely try to plan a couple episodes in person, because that was definitely a highlight for me, man. But love you, dog. Great year.
Love you too.
Obviously, I'm gonna talk to you before, but I'll let everybody know a very happy birthday to Blair. That's coming up, but everybody have a happy New Year, happy holidays, and we'll be back at it next year, man. Love you guys.
Yes, sir. Love you too. Peace.
Peace.